It looks like our sound might still be coming out of there instead of where I want it to do. Just give me a minute. Make sure that it's coming out of the out.
Okay. Right.
So James, why don't you go ahead and talk, ask him if you can hear me.
Adam, can you hear me?
Yep.
The volume's not coming out now, so just make sure.
Can't hear Adam, but I can read Adam, so I'm good. Good luck.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, we should be getting the volume from Adam.
Try again, Adam.
Can you hear me now?
Hmm.
Keep going, Adam.
Anything?
At this point, Matt's just messing with you because we can't hear you yet.
Yeah.
Anything?
That one.
By the way, the transcription is just fun to read sometimes.
Is there a volume though? Do we need to turn volume up?
Just says. It said Matt's just messing with you because we can't.
So Adam, can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
We're
Okay.
busy.
You're coming in on my laptop instead of the Meow. Sorry about that.
All right, so business to call to order.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and make sure the captions are on. Yep.
They are. I'm reading them even when they're wrong. So it works for me. I'll take it. At any rate, so let's call this to order then. Sorry for technical difficulties at 8:06 or 7:06 p.m. So my clock hasn't changed on my computer for some reason. We'll hit a roll call and we can move on.
So in the room, Brooke, Michelle Williams,
Here.
Valerie Whitbaler,
Here.
we have Paul Gamrat,
Here.
and Diane Law,
Here.
and Deb Cassini Klein,
Here.
Matt Castillo,
Here.
and joining us online, Adam McDowell.
Here.
Okay.
And I am still here. For all that is. There we go. That's better. So I can change my subtitling. All right, let's move straight into it. We've made people wait long enough. So moving straight into kind of public comment first and foremost. Again, if you are interested in commenting today at the workshop, please raise your hand. If you look on your screen, you can see there's an option for hand raise, at which time we'll call you, promote you. In your 3 minutes, please state your name and address. This is for Churchill residents and taxpayers. I don't see anyone in the room, so that's not an option this time or a concern because you're ready to hear. And so I will see if we have anybody. Alex? All right, I'm gonna give it a couple seconds because I know it does take people a couple minutes sometimes to find their way to buttons. I am no different, so that is not to say anything more or less. And then if I don't see anybody, we will move forward to discussion items. Let's give it one more second here just to see where we're at. Actually, being that everybody waited on for 6 minutes, I can wait on comes for an extra minute just to make sure. I also don't see any phone calls in today either, right? So that being the case and not seeing any hands raised, I'm going to actually close public comment then at this time. I appreciate people who are here to listen, even if they're not commenting today. And we're going to move into discussion items, starting with, of course, anything on minutes. We'll kind of work our way through.
Yeah.
Easy enough. All right. Any questions on reports? I'm going to kind of jump this, starting just the acknowledgement of the agencies, but most of that is kind of report questions to me. Let's run through if there aren't any existing right now. Why don't we punch through committees and see where we're at and move our way forward. So we can jump into M&G, management government, which really we still haven't really had a chance to meet. I've talked to the members that will start meeting probably this month. This is solely on me and my incapacitated self that I've slowed everybody down. So my apologies to all. Having said that, there are still issues that we need to address. Pretty basic in a sense, but still things we need to address, beginning with a discussion on what a meeting schedule looks like.
In the binder, there was a proposed meeting schedule. The thing I wanted you to give me feedback on is that January 2nd is the legal holiday.
that would be the night of our first meeting, and this is not a reorganization year, because we don't have to meet the first Monday after the
Right.
meeting. So if you like, I'll slide that over to Tuesday, and then everything else will be the same as in the binder.
Anybody have an issue?
I'd prefer the Tuesday.
I prefer the Tuesday.
You good? You good?
The third, I think Tuesday.
All right, so third sounds like not a problem in that space. Pretty easy. I like easy. This has got this under us, but you've got Alex, the ordinance on alcohol in here, so in this space. So talk to me.
Basically, we're required to each year state the fees. Ours are not changing. However, Zalcus theirs will be changing. And we're just to acknowledge that through an ordinance.
Yeah, and I think if, when we're establishing the fee initially, which is already established, obviously, and when you're increasing the fee, it should be done by ordinance.
Right.
Because Alcosan continues to bump up its fees significantly year by year, even though we're just acting as a pass-through, I think the safer play is just to continue to do it by ordinance. And I think it helps the public sort of understand too, because we have them divided up as to, okay, Churchill's rates last year, this year, no change. Alcosan, it shows that it's moved from X to Y. And so I think getting in the practice of doing that annually is a good idea. There's the advertising fee for the ordinance, but I think it insulates you from any kind of question as to whether or not that fee is properly assessed.
Questions, concerns? My only being making sure that when we do have this on the table, that it's made exceptionally clear to folks that we are not increasing our rates. That we have maintained the same, and that the only reason for this is the fact that it's coming out of the other pocket now. So when we put that up, whatever that goes out to one of you, I asked that somebody would show those comments around comment myself. All right. Moving on to, we have lots of spaces we need to get filled.
Well, right now, as you can see, the positions that would be reappointed are listed for each of the boards. And then you can see the term length and the total members. So for example, the zoning hearing board, I can go ahead and share the screen so the public could watch. So let me just do that while I'm thinking about it. Zoning hearing board is one where one of the persons is not interested in being reappointed. And already mentioned the fee schedule. By the way, that their rate is going up 7% this year. So the zoning hearing board, one person is confirmed they would like to be reappointed if you're so interested in appointing them. The planning commission, all three individuals have said they would like to be reappointed, again, at your discretion. The rec board, there was only one person who was to be reappointed. But they did have two vacancies, so they are coming to you with names, as was told last month, and it would be your discretion to appoint those positions. The tree committee, similarly, they have one person who is not looking to be reappointed, and so we're going to just wait for them or for you all if you have a name out there to appoint. So it would be two positions there. There's one person not going to be reappointed; they're not interested in serving again. And so you have two spots there. And then the Wilkinsburg Penn Joint Water Authority, we think we know of two interested individuals. And one is like, I will do it, but if you get someone else, I will not get disappointed. So we'll just have to sort that out over the next week. And again, it will be at your discretion to appoint that. If you have other names or other people online who are interested, just simply send me a cover email stating your interest. If you're, for example, interested in the zoning hearing board, you can see the term is 3 years. Send me a cover email stating your interest. And if you can provide some sort of resume, VA, what it is you have experience, for example, like the zoning hearing board, of while you might be considered by the council.
So I would just point out, if we do have, which we don't, but if we did have any positions right now in which we had multiple candidates who were taking a position that I really want this, but one where it's multiple candidates, where one saying, hey, I'll do it if I, in the absence of anyone else. that those candidates then would be sent to the appropriate, I think, committee first and then sent right back to us with some sort of recommendation. Makes the most sense to me to review that versus having kind of all council deliberate on every position should want to happen. That's not the case right now, so it's not something that we need to worry about at this time. It just kind of is a matter of procedure. It makes sense that heads for if there needs to be a deep dive, an interview or anything along that line, that would head to that space. The only exception to that to me would be in the situation of an actual council person, in which case I think it would be a different case. But outside of that, I think we can send those type of things to appropriate committees. Having said that, right, we'll have lots of appointments to take care of. Okay. So no worry there. And then that, unless there's other conversation on that brings us back over to prior conversation of the tax collector, deputy collector, which I think we had spoken this through already.
Mhm.
So it's on here, so it's a matter of being on here to remind everybody that that's what's coming.
Okay.
Unless I'm missing something.
Correct. She's filled out the proper paperwork and you'll be doing resolution.
I think we have a draft already provided, and
Yes.
we have a draft in the back. That's it.
Perfect. Okay, move us forward to finance committee.
So the finance committee met last week. We discussed briefly about the budget. So the budget's been advertised in the Valley Mirror. Thank you, Alex, for that. He showed us a breakdown of what was advertised. So we'll be voting on that next week. The big thing with the budget again is that there would be no tax increase for this year. We also touched on a couple other items, including a couple of balance transfers that we were going to do by the end of the year. Alex, do you want to just run those by all of council real quick so that everyone's aware?
So when the budget that was advertised was exactly the budget that we had at the end of November meeting, except for the ending balance. And that's because we're looking at transferring out of the general fund to the operating reserve. If you remember, we created an operating reserve account last year with Pliget, and we've not populated it with dollars. So this would be a transfer, inter-fund transfer from the general fund to the operating. Not on the books as far as these go. This goes. We're also talking about transferring from a money market PNC account to a Pliget account for liquid fuels, and we'll end up closing the account with Pliget. So what changed between November 14th and this?
I'm sorry, Alex, you meant closing the account with PNC, not Pliget.
Thank you, Valerie.
Mhm.
So what changed between this and the last month is this area here, 1.338 to 499. That was like 148 last year. So it was reduced by 100. So beginning balance and the ending balance, therefore, because we're trying to pass a balanced budget, is a little bit different than what we should. But that's exactly how it was advertised, just as you see it here. There's no, and if you saw it in the Valley Mirror, they actually published our pie charts. So I was kind of happy to see that.
Good stuff. Anything else, questions from folks on it?
We have also the detailed budget here. These are posted online in the form of a 11 by 17 PDF. If anybody has that kind of printer at home, but at least they could expand it. And all the budget line items that the council's looking at the table tonight can be found online at the ECO website.
Awesome. Folks, questions on either the budget itself, kind of where we're at, that has something for the big open discussion, but certainly always there for us. Or on the other, we cover the other issues on how to find out. Any other comments? Chairman?
The only other thing I want to mention is if anyone does have any questions or comments, we do have another finance committee meeting scheduled this week. So if you get those to us, we could take a look at those within the next couple of days, if you think of anything.
Thanks, sir. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Moving forward on to public safety.
Public safety is going to begin meeting starting in January weekly or monthly rather. And Deb and I are going to be talking with the mayor, the chief, and Ralph as the fire department head, and getting input from them about our agenda for the year. what we want to get accomplished, what, each of those entities would like to see us do. So, one of the things we're looking at, and we've been sharing some of this stuff, is process, procedure, tightening things up. And we want to put together, the right kind of information for any new council members, to put that into a manual. So that's also part of what we're going to be doing.
So anybody who is not already overly busy in their committees, I know some of these committees are packed with stuff. But if you're not, and then you've got some space, goal setting for the new year, it's a great idea.
Yep.
But I know quite a few of these committees are active, and so it's not really a question of goal setting, it's a question of kind of moving forward with the existing goals. So I appreciate it.
I think one of the things we talked about in the meeting too is the communication amongst people. in that-
Absolutely.
that committee.
Yeah.
Excellent. And appreciate it. Speaking of committees who don't do very much, infrastructure.
So yeah, one of the things we are working here is on the 5G ordinance. We've talked about that quite a bit. There was a little bit of work going on to rewrite the ordinance to fit it into the zoning part of the code. So nothing changed substantially from, how the ordinance was written, the kind of the rules, regulations, all that kind of stuff, but it was moving the chapters and sections, to go into the zoning at the advice of, our in-house counsel versus the specialty counsel. So we're working on that. And then part of that is that has to then get sent to the county, right, Alex? For their review, being that it's a change to zoning. So we're going to be requesting to, in its final form here, send that over to get that process going, because it's about 45 days, and then it has to come back and be reviewed, re-reviewed by us and then finalized. So that's where that's at. Alex, do you want to discuss about the electricity and gas, since that's something that
Yeah,
we've been doing a lot of
we'll
work on?
put that under the next one, because I didn't mention this to Gavin or to you. If you look at the next bullet point about the short-term rental, that would also be a little bit of a zoning change. So
Right.
we might want to just make a zoning amendment packet if we can, whether it's next week and forward in January, or get it in January and forward in February, so we don't go to the county planning with two little zoning amendments.
We can do that. And just a reminder too, the Borough Planning Commission will need to review those draft
That's it.
ordinances as well. Yeah. And then there'll be a public hearing prior to council actually voting on either one, but we could certainly package them together. And I know the wireless is going to be a pretty large amendment. I think we could do it either way. I mean, you'd maybe save a little bit if you packaged it into one, but you'd also might be a little confusing for folks to have, kind of two very different subjects in the same movement. So we could certainly, maybe it may make more sense to have them follow the same track, send them the same day, set it up, have the public hearings for the same ones, but rather than actually combining them in the same.
So Matt, we're going to just talk a little bit about that, and then we'll circle back to the next week.
Yeah, so I mean, the short-term rental ordinance, that was draft of that was in the binder, I believe. And basically, this is something that we don't have on the books, but discussing in committee, we're recommending to put an ordinance in place to just control short-term rentals, to make sure that we have, a way to verify, maximum level of occupancy, and then investigate, if there is any types of complaints or problems, reported by the public, that we have an ordinance on the books so we can regulate those.
Yeah, I think importantly, right, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I know you were working with Weston from my office on this, but then I have it up, so I think I'm correct on this, but it's going to be a conditional use in all residential zoning districts.
Correct.
Right? So that anyone who wants to run an Airbnb or VRBO out of their place in Churchill in any residential district will have to come file an application of a public hearing before council to establish that they meet the criteria. And then I thought the committee did a really good job of kind of having a lot of, kind of safeguards, so that even if once it's approved, you got to really play by the rules. So if there's a problem property, we have some ways to address that in the new ordinance.
Correct.
Just one note, I just want to make sure, because I read this like over the weekend, make sure that we don't make reference to Airbnb, because that's a company. So we need to use language that covers
Right,
every.
short-term rental, right?
We define short-term rental as opposed to Airbnb.
Okay.
Right.
Do we have any in the borough? Do we know?
Not that we know of.
We may,
don't.
we don't know.
That's the problem.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I've checked the VRBO and Airbnb website a couple of times, and there's some around us, but I have not successfully found one in Churchill yet.
Got it.
Neighboring community had quite a challenge with one of those.
Okay.
So, and of course, the city had some big issues. So
Yes.
just want to be careful.
Smart thinking.
Well, Matt, you had suggested, I talked a little bit about the bullet point that says contracting with electricity and gas providers to secure lower utility costs. The question was, should that be in infrastructure or over in finance or wherever? So I guess, Jay, whoever you want me to work with on that, the idea is for a number of years in Pennsylvania, homeowners and businesses could contract with entities to lock in utility rates. And we've done the work with 2 entities to provide them our bills so they could, bid on us. And I guess the question is, that one is, we can be selective in the type of energy we choose, but it costs a little more. And there's like a highest end where like they guarantee a high, or almost all of the portfolio is 100% renewables. Another one is sort of like 50% renewables. We're really trying hard. And then there's the other one, it's just market, whatever the market is. So obviously there's a cost associated with 100% renewable, as opposed to the market where it is whatever's coming to you. So I guess the question for you would be, what committee is it all right in infrastructure? You want me to work with finance to do it?
So first of all, I don't know that the finance is the appropriate space for it. Either way.
I think management, the question in our meeting was whether it should be under management and government or both of us together.
Right, that
But we
makes-
we didn't want to make,
That makes more sense. I'm saying finance, I would set aside for a second. Let's keep it under management government for a second. We need to get together anyway, get ourselves going. So there's nothing wrong with having work on our plate and get there. So we'll put it there, and then we'll bring it back to you, I think, as it becomes necessary. If that works.
They'll require the approval of council to sign into these
Irrespective,
contracts.
of course.
So
Of course. You good?
Yep.
I hate taking things away from you, man. Makes me feel sad.
We're good. We've discussed the ins and outs. We've discussed our LED lighting and all the other stuff that we have going on. So, that's okay.
So,
And then the other thing on infrastructure is just, as a reminder, we're the draft sanitary, sewer lateral inspection ordinance. So, that's going to be something the committee is going to be recommending here after the first of the year. At some point, we had a breakout meeting specifically for that and stormwater, where we got a lot accomplished. There's a little bit of data that Gateway is going to coordinate from Monroeville, who's kind of done this for quite a while. We had a couple of questions just on the typical repair, whether a lot of these can be done, kind of trenchless, or if they're seeing a lot of the, individual laterals that have to be dug up the whole way to the street, that kind of stuff. So we want a little more education on that, but then we have a draft that's pretty well ready to go, and we'll be probably recommending that, I think.
I'm interested to hear what the answer to that is.
Yeah.
Both on a personal and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just generally speaking.
The other question is that comparing the ages of the structures.
Mhm.
Sure.
So are there many newer houses that they're going to in Monroeville, or are our older houses comparable to the situations they're dealing with? So
not to belabor, because we've talked a lot about this in the meeting, that some insurance riders possibly
right.
could cover damage done by like a tree to
Yes.
your. Now, that's an extra in addition over above normal homeowners. Everyone who's interested may want to check with their agent to see if they have that kind of coverage and have a conversation with them that suppose a tree did
Mhm.
break my lateral. Is that covered under my
Mhm.
utility,
Mhm.
insurance?
Hypothetically.
Yeah, hypothetically.
True that. No, I think it makes good sense as we move forward, just generally speaking.
I also would like
I'll be
to
really
add,
interested in
the suggestion about contacting your insurance company. You also want to ask specifically, what is the dollar amount up to,
Yeah.
the dollar
Oh,
amount the
yeah.
insurance company will cover, because you can be quite surprised. That's not a lot.
Yeah,
Mhm.
3, 5 grand, they can cut it. that
That's
way.
right.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
Brooke's right. So when you do the additional rider for your homeowners, those should be stated, of course, with your costs associated with that. Yeah, not go as far as you like.
Alright. Anything else on infrastructure?
Nope.
Like I said, so little we do over there. Moving on to communication.
We can discuss the draft resolution of adopting the communications and social media policy. Alex and I, mostly Alex, well, we talked about it, worked on it, and Gavin helped out a bit. Really the goal for this resolution is for internal and external communication, how we're communicating with that, as well as compliance with the Sunshine Act. So we thought that was very important. It is in your packet in there. You want to take a look at it if you haven't. Alex, did you want to add anything to it?
It comes with devices as well.
Yeah.
Use of these devices that we've got.
Yes.
And, we assume everybody knows how to use them appropriately, but just in case someone doesn't, we'll be able to cover that.
Excellent. Any questions on it? Let's give a chance to. Yeah, this is, seems a little quiet today.
There's a lot in there.
Moving through. Yeah, there's a lot in there, so take a look.
Cover everything.
Yeah, covers a lot, very detailed, very detailed. Mhm.
Fine. Surprised it was kind of quiet. Okay.
Because they all agree with it. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen.
Pretty good document.
Right now, I'm just going with that, right? I will deal with somebody's, later complaint. It'll probably be me, by the way, so.
It will be you.
Let's see. All right, anything else coming out of communication as if that isn't a lot of work as it is?
No, we had
There's a lot of stuff.
yeah, there's there's a lot of stuff. Let me pull up my.
Welcome packets.
Yeah, so we're currently we had a very productive meeting. When did we meet? The 15th of last month. So we talked about social media. There's a social media calendar that was created by Alice, and we spoke about that. Right now, we are currently in discussion about welcome packets and revamping those. What do they look like? What kind of important information needs to be on there for new residents, for just pertinent information? Because right now we have a welcome packet that Mayor has been passing out to you, which is really helpful. We're trying to find a way to make it all cohesive and branded. So thinking about what that looks like. So we're working on that. We always put the newsletter, year-end articles from people if they already sent those
Newsletters coming
in.
together real well. Yeah.
Great, good, awesome. Yeah, just in regards to increasing engagement with our newsletters, that we set some goals as well as social media goals. So all of that is happening, moving right along. Anything else I missed?
There's so much going on.
Yeah. Yeah, we did, an hour was not enough time for everything that we talked about. So,
And just back to welcome back.
yeah,
I did talk to Ashley the other day. One of the documents in there was like 10 pages.
yes,
We can kind of reduce that
Ex-
to.
yes. Yeah, there's some things on there that we don't think is necessary. I think there's some information like, hey, this is what this is. If you want more information, contact this person, versus including all of the information. That's too many pages. And we don't deem it necessary for new residents.
We asked a lot of Allegheny and other Pennsylvania counties to send us or share with us their welcome packets.
Yeah.
And I think some were in a contest to see whose was the heaviest. Things up in St. Clair was really heavy. We're like,
Really?
this wasn't their goal. Let's get more stuff in it. Let's see how much more we could put in the packet. It's kind of fun.
How about the welcome to Churchill booklet?
Yeah, so there was a booklet that you found,
Mhm.
and it was an old booklet, and it was actually, I really love the cover because it seemed like it was a local artist that did a hand-drawn map of Churchill, which I thought was really neat. I have lots of ideas about maybe doing something like that, but anyways, and there's a lot of information on there, and it's just interesting. It's like a historic piece of thing.
Yeah.
We've had that old, that original typewriter typeset.
Yes, up
Yeah.
front, yeah. That's
Well,
typewriting.
You know, the right time I could smell it up the middle of that.
Sure.
So we want to do something similar to that possibly. So we do have a meeting, I think tomorrow? I think it's tomorrow.
I think as we said, you're.
Yeah, we're meeting with her tomorrow.
The only thing I would ask is, I'm behind.
Yeah.
In my deliveries.
Okay.
I got like 40 right now.
Oh, wow.
They going back to January.
Oh,
1,
wow.
21, and I just got the new, real estate list.
Okay.
So there's like 4 or 5
Okay.
add on to that. And it's getting late, it gets dark early. I
Yeah,
don't like to be out knocking on someone's door when it's dark,
No.
yeah,
so I'm kind of limited to my time to get out there.
yeah.
It's a Saturday or Sunday, and I could do it, but sooner we get.
Yeah,
Well-
and I think maybe what Ashley, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because her and I could talk about maybe what's something we can do in the meantime
Yeah.
that you could pass out now. And then we could also talk long-term, like this is something that we want to work on. Would that be helpful?
Yeah, they're over there.
Okay.
I brought the box somewhere, I had.
I just wanted to get off the floor. It's on the
Okay,
shelf.
okay, yeah, the box is here, all the envelopes are, I
Okay.
adjust them. Cause it's too much for Ashley to sit there and type in. all
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah,
I just wrote them
okay,
on the envelopes. But
okay.
Yeah, whatever you can get together,
Yeah, well, I'll talk to her tomorrow. I'll touch base with you.
and I'll come in tomorrow, and I'm busy tomorrow. I will be here tomorrow.
Okay.
8:30. The Gavin's.
Have to get ready for that.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
We'll
Thank
talk
you.
About that.
Oh,
Yeah.
one more thing.
Yeah.
On the Facebook page, I've been putting pictures around the borough. I see people's Christmas. decorations.
Christmas, yeah,
So I've been putting them on
beautiful.
on the Facebook
Right.
page, so. And I'm gonna add on to it. If someone has a picture, send it to me and then I can post it.
Perfect.
But as I drive around the bar, I see when I snap it and put them on.
I like
So-
it.
And I'm not sure if I'm reading that right, because Deb and I were looking at it this afternoon. And I think with, one of the things had like 100 and some. What's it called, reaches 100 and some people.
Right, we were trying to figure out, because if you go on the Facebook page on Facebook, our Churchill page.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll see 4 or 5 likes, and
Yeah.
I said, well, not that many people are looking, but then you were looking at something else where it said 135, so we're trying to figure out, they're not necessarily likes, are they just views?
People viewed it, so it
Yeah.
showed up
People
on,
clicked on it.
yeah,
Right.
Clicked on
And they
it,
probably clicked on
Yeah.
that, but they
Right.
just didn't like.
they didn't like
so
it.
more
They didn't enter,
people are watching it than we actually think,
yeah.
if you
That's
just
on
look
that-
on the
that
Facebook
meta
page.
page.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we had conversations about like, how do we increase engagement? Because there's difference between somebody viewing the post versus somebody actually engaging with the post, whether that's
Mhm.
liking it, commenting, et
Right.
cetera. So we did talk about that in the communications committee on asking some questions or doing some polls to actually get people engaged in our posts.
Right. That's a good idea.
Yeah. So we did discuss that too.
In the spring, we should do one where people post pictures of their dogs.
What?
Dogs, like a
Oh,
week,
yeah.
where you
Oh, yeah.
like reply to the post and like it and then put your own dog up.
Oh, I like that.
I like dogs.
What about cats? What about cats?
Pets.
Pets, sure.
Pets.
Pets.
That's,
Oh, dogs, big dogs. No.
Then they'll say we're
The cat dog
discriminating
is
against the
down.
cats.
So there's people with
Sets
birds
off on
and
your-
snakes and jerk
Chicken.
That would be neat to see. It'd be fun.
chicken. Yeah.
Then say chickens.
Then-
Say the-
Sorry, I said
Right,
that.
right, yeah.
She's the one that said it.
Sorry.
I just
She just repeated it.
repeated what she said.
Lots to say on that print. on the-
Lots of things communication. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out to me.
We appreciate your work. Any other questions on it before,
No, but just to reiterate, if there's anybody out there that has beautiful Christmas lights, get in touch with Paul. We want to post them. Because there's some real nice ones around our
Oh, yeah.
neighborhood.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or take your own picture and reply to the
Right.
post. Put it up there.
Oh, right,
I
right.
don't know.
Well, no, you have to send it to you.
Can you post a picture?
Yep, can
Sure.
you?
Okay.
Yeah, you could, right.
Yep.
Right.
There you
Yeah,
go.
Post your own picture.
Yep.
Saves me time.
great.
All time savers.
All right, I appreciate the communication, moving on to climate action.
So the Climate Action Committee met on Friday, actually, and we discussed updates to the borough code regarding our waste ordinance to ensure that it is consistent with the new contract with Waste Management. We received comments back from Waste Management. There were just a couple of minor things there for consistency that we were going to update. Alex, was there anything to add about the specifics? I can't remember anything that was too big as far as the terms go.
One important thing to remind residents of, Adam, is that, right now, our current ordinance says, I think you can't put your trash cans out before 6 p.m. and they have to be in by 6 day. Recognizing that, especially in the winter, we don't want folks having to necessarily put them out in the dark. We changed the hours. I think it's 5 to 8, like 5 p.m. the day of, day before collection till 8 p.m. the next night. And again, recognizing that some folks maybe don't get home from work until 7 or 8. So, we don't want people to be out of compliance or get fined over something, simple like that.
Especially given we know the sun goes down and,
Right.
in darkness.
Right.
Just to point out again that for individuals who may not be able to adhere to that because of disabilities, and that was asked for the
Yeah, thanks, Matt. We were hoping that change just makes things a little bit easier for everyone, maybe a little less worrying for people about the exact time on that. So other than that, I don't think there was anything else on the ordinance with respect to waste management. We also met with Ken Balke on Friday, who came to our meeting and gave updates with respect to the tree committee. Just some of the quick highlights there. The committee did the geographic mapping, the GIS mapping of the right-of-way trees in the borough. I think it was 68 streets that Ken said. They did all but about 5. The way the system works is they're able to put in the system all of the trees that are within the right-of-ways within the borough. So Ken has that information now, and they are hoping to use that information for things like identifying trees that maybe aren't as healthy or which trees are healthy and that sort of information. Let me see. And we also discussed briefly, and actually Deb wrote an article, the committee's changing personnel a little bit right now, but Deb wrote an article for the upcoming newsletter regarding leaf blowers and just the educational aspect of the Climate Action Committee, that if people are buying, gas powered, whether it's lawnmowers, leaf blowers, whatever, if you want to look at electric options in the future, that's always a good way to go. So Deb, thanks for writing an article for the upcoming newsletter about that as well. Anything, and Brooke is now a member of the committee. So Matt, Brooke, anything that you wanted to add to from our discussion on Friday?
Nope.
Nothing that I would like to add.
Okay.
I'm just double down on the battery powered electric versus gas powered. My first and fully electric lawnmower, it's great. And without branding or selling for different brand, works better than my gas powered. Picking up a electric snowblower. It's 2 of the batteries in it.
We have one.
What's that?
We have one.
Great, right? Am I wrong? I'm just saying here. 'Cause from what I can see, right, beside it working just as well and being like 8 times quieter,
Yes,
Batteries
much
are
better.
expensive.
much better for the environment.
Found that out.
yeah, well, the key is to stay in one ecosystem, and then when you change seasons, you really, because the blower needs a little more battery than the lawnmower, as it turns out. So you get the one without the battery, you're still gonna pay for the extra, one extra.
Then
battery.
you have a really souped up leaf blower.
Yeah. Do you have the seat up?
I sure do.
That's what I'm on next. That's not to go too far out. I have a gas powered leaf blower right now, big old backpack one, because I do 3,000 to 6,000 gallons of leaves over my hillside. And I'm about to move that way, so we'll have to talk.
Good.
About it.
The other option is to just go like really old school and just get like an extension cord. Yeah, I went back to an electric leaf blower this year with an extension cord because my gas one, I was tired of fighting every time. It wouldn't start, it wouldn't do this, and it was just like, you know what? So like a 200-foot extension cord and I can go all day long.
I hate to tell you this, Matt, but I'm pretty sure my leaves laugh at the plug-in type of blower.
Oh, there's new ones are pretty good.
Okay.
Then there's this thing called a rake.
Oh, Stony. Next, you're gonna want me to get a snow shovel.
I'm not getting down the street tonight over my leaves. I used to have a rake my leaves. He was like,
No
Nah,
way.
I can do more for less, man.
It's a good job for a high school or college kid,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
right?
I lost mine when he looked at my last drop of leaves. He was like, yeah, I don't know. We're gonna have to we talk about our pricing here. All right, anything else coming out of climate? Yeah, would be remiss, it is not on here because I know they had met, but I wanted to make sure that we get a chance for ad hoc on deer, if there's anything that we need to report.
I do have a quick statement that I wanted to read about that. So, in 2008 through 2020, there was a great deal of effort and discussion, research and engagement of state and federal agencies performed by the former Deer Committee comprised of Diana Yankus, Vice President Diane Law, and President Grace Dorwin. In 2018, President Dorwin made a statement to the community. There was a need for an action to be taken as well as a plan pertaining to deer in the borough. Ultimately, July of 2018, there was a town hall meeting held with the Pennsylvania Game Commission, as well as USDA and the Churchill Borough Deer Committee. In 2019, 600 plus residents completed a Pennsylvania Game Commission survey that was issued by the Churchill Borough Deer Committee. The findings derived from the study noted that deer was an issue for borough residents. As a result of that, there was an ordinance banning the feeding of wildlife that was adopted by Churchill Borough Council. Being that President Dorwin as well as Vice President Law, you both hold historical and institutional knowledge from past work of the former Deer Committee. It is my belief that the residents deserve you to lead the effort of this deer mitigation committee today. While I take the opportunity to learn the historical precedent that you consistently say, you know, we have to follow and should understand regarding council business. I'm happy to serve as a committee member and assist the effort, but I will not serve as chair of the ad hoc deer mitigation committee. This will prevent a lag in moving this task of creating an action, as well as a plan to address the deer due to the need of anyone new to council or a non-member of the previous deer committee needing time to review the precedent and procedure of the past. In addition, it has come to my attention that there is repeated conversation about prior procedure and policy and unilateral movement of council members and the need to improve communication. I want to make it a point to mention that an email was sent to me that I did not see and did not have the opportunity to respond to regarding the ad hoc deer committee. And had I been given the opportunity to respond either to the email or have an in-person conversation, this would have been my response and my position. And if I need to provide this in writing, I can do that.
Well, it's not easy to decide it, right? I think if I'm understanding you clearly, you're asking not to chair the deer committee.
I'm asking not to chair the deer committee, to serve on the deer committee. And I'm asking that either you, Mr. President, or Vice President Diane Law, because of your previous work with the efforts from 2008 up until 2020 regarding deer litigation.
And I certainly understand your comment. You know, part of my role is to select who I think is best in each position. You know, I've been around long enough to understand that we've had new people come on, new people come off, prior committees, prior chairs, all kinds of things. As it turns out, one of the realities of council is that councils change too. And so the membership of council changed, which means the tone, current, understanding, obligations, direction, all change on council on a fairly regular basis. So, you know, I don't have a problem with your decision to resign as chair. Who I choose to appoint as chair is a different question that we will look at and see. You, of course, had Diane on the council with you, or on that committee with you, to ensure that that knowledge was there. But I get it. So, you know, as far as that's concerned, I have no problem accepting the resignation. You will certainly not be committee chair for DEER, and I will reassess what the DEER committee will look like. It probably causes a delay, doesn't eliminate a delay. In that, I think I thought it was a good decision to put you in that position and good for the residents of Churchill. You know, you disagree with that, and I cannot force someone to be a chair of something they choose not to be. I think that's pretty common sense. So as a result, to the rest of council, I will go back and review. I'll talk with the vice president. We'll come up with what the committee will look like and get back to folks on what the committee is. Unfortunately, I think there was hope that beginning in the beginning, you know, the first year that the DEER committee could hit the ground running. I hope that to be the case, but I'm not sure at this time, and I will let everyone know as we move forward. So I certainly understand. I appreciate your comments, and I will reassess on the DEER committee.
And I just want to be clear
So-
that, you know, we did not have a conversation about me serving as the chair of the committee. I was not given an opportunity to discuss this with you. It was something that I learned from the street, from another resident who informed me that I was going to be chair, because I believe there was a conversation that occurred before I could respond or discuss it. But I'm going to
believe-
digress.
I believe what you said was that you did not see the email, so I resent the email to you. So I believe that you received an email that said that I looked at it, I looked at the chairs, and that I was going to have you chair the DEER committee. There wasn't a response to that from you. And I believe you said you didn't see it, so I resent it to you. I don't think it was a question of whether it was sent,
You
unless you're saying that it
resent
wasn't
to-
sent.
You resent it to me after you had already made the announcement that you were going to.
Right,
take
because I'd already sent it to you.
But what I'm saying to you is that you sent the email to me. I did not see the email. We met in person shortly after the email was sent. You never said anything to me in person regarding your interest in exploring the DEER committee. And so, again, I just ask that if we are going to talk about procedure, communication, unilateral movement, and, ways that business should be conducted, in the event that an email is sent and I do not respond and we see each other in person, I would like for there to be in-person communication.
So, Brooke, as a matter of course, I've sent multiple emails that haven't been responded to. And so not responding is not how I set the tone on whether or not I'm going to bring something back up. I sent an email out to you indicating that you would be the chair. We spoke after that and you said nothing about it, so I assume there's not a problem there. Had there been a problem, I assume you would have said it. You are not one not to voice your opinion. Now, having said that, right, you clearly have a problem with it. Understanding that, I accept your resignation as chair. I will figure out what will happen with that committee and who will be on that committee. What I think you want to recognize in the process is that if someone sends an email and it says, hey, I'm setting you for the chair, and you're saying, hey, I don't want to do that, send an email back saying, I don't want to do that. If you're saying you didn't see it, I understand. And so I sent you the email again because it was sent. Having said all of that, the simplicity of this is you do not wish to be the chair of the DEER committee. You will not be the chair of the DEER committee. Someone else will be the chair of the DEER committee. I will sort who will be on the DEER committee along with the vice president, as that is the obligations of the president and vice president, is to select the committee membership. That is how it will work. I appreciate your comment. I'm not going to belabor the rest of this, so we will move forward.
Very good.
Having
Thank
said
you.
that,
Thank you.
I think we're going to move forward past that, and I appreciate your comment. I think I want to move to the mayor, because I think up next is the mayor's comment for consideration.
Thank you. I don't really have any, what I want to talk about tonight is the upcoming Santa visit on December 17th.
It's up to me.
Yes,
So we've got that in the works, and Deb and the recreation board have been working, pretty hard on it. They've really spearheaded that whole thing. So we have December 17th, between 10 and 2. We'll have the fire truck, and I'm not sure what other vehicles will be along with us. We met this afternoon and we rearranged the times a little bit So anyone, and also it's gonna be, we're gonna put it out on Savvy Citizen Facebook page, wherever we can to get it out to the residents. But also know if people listening that, if we say 10:20, give us some leeway,
Right.
there are approximate times.
Right,
So
Listen,
we will be around.
Is it a parade? I'm sorry, is it a parade or is it people can come here?
no,
No,
it's
no.
it's,
parade.
it's the fire, it's very similar.
Like the
I
bunny?
didn't mean to
No, no,
interrupt,
that's-
very similar to the Easter Bunny
Got it.
Parade.
Okay,
Where only this time we have the fire truck. Santa's coming into town. He'll be in town either the night before, whatever, but he will be in Churchill. 10 o'clock, ready to go, and Santa will be on the fire truck
okay.
and go around, very similar to
Yep.
what we do with the bunny
Got it.
parade.
it is very fair to ask for some flexibility if Santa is a busy man.
Santa's very busy
We had,
and,
we got him on to the 17th.
well,
That was hard.
yes, it was hard, but he made the arrangements. I mean, sometimes Santa gets to talking and then, we're supposed to be at the next place and we're 5, 10, 15
Yeah.
minutes late. We hope that won't be the case. I think Santa might be passing out.
I was just gonna say, is he passing
some
out goodies?
treats. Yeah, some
Okay.
treats.
Say Santa can talk.
Right, right. So, yeah, but we
And
are,
one other thing to note, we're taking a big fire truck. Obviously, there's some streets that we looked at today.
that
That
we
you
can't
can't
get
get.
Can't
through.
take that fire truck.
Right.
That street,
So
so
we hope they won't be disappointed, but
we're asking the
if
residents
the-
to meet us somewhere else.
yes. If they
know.
see the listing of the streets and your street's not on it, that could be that, oh gee, you were here for the Easter Bunny Parade. Because we have this huge fire truck, we cannot hit every street, but maybe make it a point to go to another street. But it's the same thing, we're hoping the kids will be at the end of their driveway. They'll see Santa and get a little treat.
Can we make sure that with the social media to put out, like, if your street isn't on there, fire truck can't get in there, so people are aware that we're not,
Mhm.
purposely trying to skip their street?
I mean,
Walk,
almost,
walk to the closest street.
right,
Yeah.
almost
Yeah,
all the
I'll do the-
streets from the Easter
Mhm.
Bunny Parade are on it. They're just a couple
Yeah.
of them that
Yeah,
the truck just can't make it, unless
understandable.
of course it's an emergency.
Okay,
Right, but,
Sure.
but, yeah. So that's Saturday, September.
December.
I'm sorry. December 17th, 10 a.m. starts the,
Two issues, so.
we're thinking it'll probably go about 3.5 hours, I would say. Yeah,
Good time.
yeah, glad he was able to squeeze. this in.
Santa's coming to town.
Santa's coming.
That's a tough
Coming
get.
to
Let me
church
tell you right
with us.
now, that's a
Yeah.
tough get.
Right.
I'm
Right.
impressed.
Right.
I'm impressed.
So I applaud the rec board.
Yeah, there was a lot of work to, he's so busy.
Yeah.
So
Thank you, Rick.
busy.
Especially now.
Thank
Yeah.
you, rec board.
Sure.
Say, we haven't sat in July, maybe.
Yeah. No, I know. He's very, especially the week before Christmas too.
Easter Bunny's pretty easy to get.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, Easter Bunny,
Yeah.
Easter Bunny's a little easier to get.
Thank you.
Anything else we got?
That's it.
All right, anything else, council staff?
Oh,
Dennis?
No, essentially, we're working to finalize all contracts, all construction work is completed for the year, and I with the infrastructure committee plan to hit the ground running with some of the new contracts in 2023.
2023. Mr. Solicitor, anything, other than,
Nothing for me.
guess we'll see you tomorrow, is that the story?
Awesome. Awesome, good to see.
We'll see.
I'm
we'll
as busy
see.
as Santa this time.
He make his lift up like stop by, see how long he stops and talks to you for, right? See where we are in the
Totem pole.
hierarchy. Start a clock, see how it goes.
Wave is, I'll give you a wave. I can't get it.
We're gonna see whose gifts are better too.
I'll take what I can get, man, I'll take what I can get. Anything else from folks?
Just have one mention, since you brought up the rec board. We have some new goals for 2023. There was a little bit of a pause for COVID and everything, but now we're kind of up to speed again. We hope to have, of course, we're gonna have our community day on August 12th. We've mentioned that before, Saturday, August 12th at the Pace School. And of course, the Easter Bunny Parade that we mentioned, but we have 2 new board members, Helen DeFranco and Maddie DeSano just joined the rec board. We're also hoping to go back to that, remember in the past, we had a few guest speakers in the Eagle Room, so we're looking into that. We're looking into organizing, going back to our community dinner that we used to have every year. So that's a possibility, and maybe even possibly some fun day trips that our residents could go on. Yes, day trips, fun day trips.
I like fun days.
Yeah. So, and we can always use volunteers. If somebody would like to volunteer on anything, give me a call or my email is on the website. So just let me know and we'll work it out. I just want to mention that.
Outstanding.
Yeah,
Is
fun
any-
stuff.
It is fun stuff. Let me say that right now. From the time my daughter was yay big till now. You know, and I'm always saying good things. All right, anything else, people?
Mm-mm.
Hearing nothing, game set match, people, thank you very much. Also, I gotta take care of this lights behind me, it's making me glow red.
I like it.